I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another week of Staying Salty. This week's topic is port or PICC. So for you guys that might not be familiar, but obviously with cystic fibrosis, we have exacerbations, we have to go to the hospital and get IV antibiotics. So there's two different methods. Well, I'm sure there might be more than that. But typically if you're a long antibiotic stay, like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, you need something besides the normal IV that you would normally get like in an emergency room or urgent care, whatever it may be, because a peripheral IV, which is a little typical IV you get in your arm or your hand, like around this area, whatever, that will last 2 to 3 days on average. The stronger the antibiotics, the less they last. The weaker the antibiotics, more they last. But long story short, it's very unlikely that you will be able to use those for a long hospital stay. So, what are the other options? And the two that are most common is a port or a PICC. And you guys have seen the other videos this week, I'm sure. But a PICC line is basically a long line where it will be inserted usually in the arm, but it can be inserted in the chest as well. I'm sure other places in the body, but usually the arm, and it goes all the way down to the heart. Just it rests right above the heart. So you will get antibiotics through that line and goes into your heart and pumps out throughout your whole body, so that way the antibiotics kill the bacteria. The other option is a port. So ports, once again, can be placed a few different places from my understanding, but either in the chest, one side of the chest. I've been told they can also be placed like down by the rib area if you don't want them as noticeable. And then once again, the port, that's kind of like if you're in the hospital a lot and you're tired of getting poked and everything, the port, you have just a needle that what is it called? Activates, inserts. Anyway, inserts into your port. So it's a little disc. I'm sure one of the other people on the channel will show you, but it's like a little disc type thing that goes underneath your skin. It's permanently there. It can be taken out, but for the most part, it's like there long term. And when you're done with IV antibiotics, you just uninsert it. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I'm having problems with words. But you take the needle out, and then therefore you just patch it up. You're good to go. You go home, live a normal life until you need antibiotics again, and you come back and they insert the needle back in and give you IV antibiotics through it. So what do I choose? You guys might know my story already. I feel like I'm very opinionated on this, and my ultimate choice is PICC lines all the way. And you're gonna say, why would you want a PICC line if you go to the hospital a lot? And I hear you guys. I've been to the hospital very, very much. I've had roughly, give or take, 31 PICC lines. I know you're gonna be like, what? That's freaking nuts. But for several different reasons. And the biggest reason being, which I find this with a lot of other CFers as well on Instagram that I talk to, but the biggest reason I don't want a port, and I'd rather prefer to have a PICC line, is the image. And as stupid as that sounds, or shallow, or chauvinistic, or whatever word you want to throw, it is what it is. You know, I like working out, I like being able to watch my body grow, and I like going to the beach and the pool and showing my progress in the gym and all that kind of thing. And actually, I've always wanted to compete in bodybuilding competitions. I have not done one yet, but ever since high school I got into bodybuilding, I really felt like that was something I wanted to do down the road. And that was something that always kind of played back in my mind, was if I competed in a bodybuilding competition, you had to get down to about 5% body fat roughly, which you're going to look very veiny and your muscles stand out more, and that's simply just how bodybuilding competitions go. And if you're down that low of body fat, that's how you see those chiseled abs. Well, you're also going to see a port, right? Like it's going to be a thing sticking out of your chest, like a bump, right? So that's how I've always thought about it. You know, I know some people say, oh, it doesn't stick out that much, you can get a smaller one. And that's probably true, especially if you have some meat on your bones, if you have some higher lung function, if you don't really have that big of a problem with weight gain, it probably is a good viable option. But for me, with the whole working out thing, and especially if I ever did want to do competitions, that would really bother me. And then also I've heard stories about them getting infected, which PICC lines can get infected too. So, you know, they both can have infection problems, but I just kind of heard some horror stories about, oh yeah, they got infected and they had to like take it out and they had to put a new one in, which is a lot more invasive surgery than if your PICC line gets infected. It's literally a cord that you pull out. So you guys might have seen other YouTubers or maybe on my channel, Larry Bryan CF, I might have one as well. But the PICC line they put in here, and there's a little pinch when they put it in. So I don't have a port, so I can't tell you what that feels like. But the PICC line, there's a little pinch. That's where they do numbing medicine at. And that kind of burns, stings a little bit. And then from there on, you don't feel this at all. Like this is just, all you feel is pressure. So they're like putting the line in, and you just feel pressure. And you kind of feel it like a little feathery type feel around your shoulder as it goes around that curve down into your heart. But guys, to me it's worth it. It is worth it. Obviously I've had about 30 PICC lines or whatever. It is worth it to me over getting a port. And another thing I've heard about ports, and I don't have one, so keep that in mind, but I've heard that also every 7 days or at least monthly, whatever, but you'd have a nurse come out, flush the port, make sure it stays clean, make sure it stays available to access if you were to need antibiotics. And so that's just something else to throw on top of stuff, you know? So it's just, okay, well now I have to have a nurse come out, and constant reminder. And the final thing I'll say about it, and this is just my opinion, guys, you guys probably know how I am on Instagram and on this channel and whatnot, but it's symbolic. So when I was in the hospital all the time, I got PICCs over and over, they insisted I try to get a port. And to me, a port every morning, and I walk up to the mirror with my shirt off and I see that, that is saying I have something in my body because I know I'm going to be sick again, and I know I'm going to need antibiotics. Which might be the case. In reality, that might be the case. But I did not want to get a port and have that vision because I felt like that was like giving in to the sickness, right? Like that's like giving in, saying, yes, I am planning on being sick again, to where I had 30 PICC lines, but yet every single time I got one pulled out, I never planned on being sick again. I realized it could happen, but it wasn't something that was going to happen for sure. And so just kind of like that symbolism kind of rung out my head a lot, and that's another reason why I did not get a port. I had a PICC. So I'll show you guys real quick all my PICC line scars so you can see that I'm actually telling the truth and I actually have a lot of PICCs. Alright guys, I am pale as a ghost, but I hate the scar. So this scar right here, that is the only PICC line that has ever been in my chest. And that was in 2016 summer. But you guys will see that video. They ended up putting me to sleep for the PICC line, or giving me some medicine to like make me forget about it. And I signed a paper and I was like, this is in the arm, right? And he's like, no, this is in the chest. And it was too late at that point to do anything. So I woke up very, very irritated. But I have a lot of scars up and down my arm here. All those white dots are PICC line scars. This red dot is my most recent one. And then my left arm as well. So you see all these white dots here. And that's all PICC lines, guys. So it will go in this vein, and it goes around your shoulder, and it comes down to about here. Now I have a lot of scar tissue in this shoulder. So instead of putting my PICC line in near at the bedside, they now have to take me down to interventional IR, radiology. So that's where they can like go in, use a whole screen and navigate through your veins, and it's a lot better to put it in. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. I'm gonna end this video with my shirt off. But I will let you guys go. That's my opinion and perspective on PICC lines versus ports. Once again, I choose the PICC line. Be really interested to see what you guys choose. Leave a comment down below, right on our Facebook page or our Instagram, and I will see you guys next week. Alright, hashtag stay salty, guys.
See, I've got cystic fibrosis.